How's it going, everyone? Thanks for coming through and checking out the stream. I know you guys are probably tired of seeing these pages, or maybe you're not. But I didn't have too much time to think about working on them too much recently, and I'm kind of going through trying to finish up a lot of edits as far as like adding sound effects or updating some art here and there, and trying to get it a little bit further along. And after this, may not be during the stream, but after this, I'll be working on storyboards for the next chapter. So look forward to that. But yeah, so I'm just literally making a new layer, and I'm going around and adding white, getting rid of certain lines, trying to zoom out to make sure things are reading well from a distance, and I'm updating uh, literally just certain parts of the artwork. That way, I'm always going through, and I'm trying to trying to make the hands look better. I'm trying to make the faces look a little better, and I'm usually trying to make I'm trying to make sure the eyes come through clearly, because sometimes, like, I went through and adjusted some things over here, because sometimes when you zoom out, there could be a line a little bit too close to another, and then it kind of just becomes like a gray or a dark area, and then it just becomes hard to read. So I'm always trying to zoom out. Um, at some point, some people will eventually check out my work on their phones, and that's always what I'm trying to like make sure that I am ready for. Trying to make sure that everyone has a decent experience reading what I'm making, because I take a bit of a long time kind of working on my comic to try and get it to the quality level that I want it to be at. And because of that, well, because it kind of kind of becomes two things where, since I take a long time, um, I would assume, I would expect from myself to have things artistically at least be up to par to where I want them to be, for the most part, like 85-90% there. That way I don't have so much to do. If I try to print my work, there'll be a lot of things that already are adjusted. And then there's always the fact that, from a reader perspective, I would assume people would like things to be, you know, at a higher quality, since it's taking me so long to release anything. So each thing that I release, I have to kind of force myself to try and do even more artistically. But it's also because it's what I want to do. My work would probably not be so high quality, or as detailed, or whatever you want to call it, if I had less time to work on it. But yeah, I've been going through. I have some notes off on like my phone, because I usually make notes on the iPad, and then I shift them off to my phone, so I can just look at my phone and check those notes and adjust things. But for the most part, it's just literally adjusting artwork and adding sound effects. And I already know what the dialogue's going to be. I'm just going to add that in last. But that's just how I like to work, so that's why. So I think for the most part, let me check my notes. I think for the most part, this page, or these two pages, look pretty decent. I've kind of adjusted like line weights on certain things that are closer to the camera, and everything like that. I've added in that was the previous page. Previous pages, I added in like the shoes. What's these two? Wrong. It's weird, but yeah. I added in a bunch of stuff here. I adjusted some quality in the art, added some hatching here and there, um, adjusted some other lines. A lot of small things that some people wouldn't notice, but I feel like since I notice, it makes the balance of the artwork look better. sound effects, ground, plane, stuff like that, smoke. Um, yeah, I adjusted some things here and there. I think I'm gonna redraw the hand here that's turning the key at some point. It kind of works, but I don't think it really works that well. Um, I mean, it gets the point across, honestly, but it's not a really dope hand to me, so I need to get better with those. I added the shoes into the scene, which I also have to add a little bit more to the bed because there's a bed frame underneath of it, and I need to add some tone underneath of there. And try to make everything have a certain level of dimension. So I've gone through and added more like occlusion shadows, either with tone or with line work. This one, of course, I have to take that back off because I don't need it. I don't like this middle, well, on the left hand side, the middle panel at the top. On the, this will be better if I just, I could literally just zoom in. This one, yeah, I don't like this one very much. I think the hand could be a little better on the bottom, which I'm gonna probably change. And I've adjusted some of the line weights here and there. So that's pretty good. But yeah, that's what I'll be working on today. Jumping around, adding some things here and there. Hope you guys are having a decent time. So I'm gonna go through, and I think my note for this one was I wanted to erase the eye tone here because it's a consistency thing. So I'm gonna go ahead and get rid of that because I don't need it there. Something else I noticed, I could have probably drawn the eye there. Probably it'd fit. I don't know why I didn't draw it before, but I can draw that later. Everything else I think is fine. What else did I have here? Right, I wanted to adjust the hair here. I didn't like it. Now that that's gone, I can just go ahead and add that. See, does this work? Could use that. It's kind of like shape I want it to be in. wow, I could actually just use this. Hmm. Okay, I will let that overlap there. I think that could be something, be fun. Yeah, I like that. um, I like that because it kind of just feels more interactive, I guess. Um, right? The hair is getting in the way of something. He's moving his hand a little underneath of the hair to put the card back onto the deck of cards, or the rest of the cards. And then he obviously, moves his hand away, and then the hair kind of goes up a bit. Kind of just makes things more interesting, movement wise. Even though these are technically static images, they move between each panel. Just trying to keep the feeling of. I mean, that's the type of thing I think that's fun. That, when I look for fun comics, or when I look for comics or manga or whatever, I try to pay attention to, like, after I like them, I go, how engaging was that? How fun was that? And I'll look for things like that, because those are the things I think is fun. Uh, you know, Interesting situations are fun. Different expressions, movement from panel to panel, or movement that's inside of a panel. Um, Fun flow, moving from panel to panel, and obviously the usual: good jokes, good writing. But I feel like good writing and jokes and stuff like that, those are like easier to plan for. They're not always gonna land, but I feel like it's more understandable for people to think about that. But when it comes to like movement in a panel, like I recently saw a comic today that put a little bit of effort of like Captain America putting his shield on his back, and it had like this little movement effect there, and I'm like, it's those little things like that that makes comics more engaging and more fun, because you're essentially putting together a picture, and then you're being like, it has more form to it, and then you're going, okay, now I'm going to give it like this effect that becomes like a little symbol, and that symbol tells your brain, oh, this thing is moving this type of way. It puts more emphasis on how it's moving, um, and that makes it fun because you're not looking at a static image. You're looking at an image that also has symbols that tells you, hey, this thing is moving. So now your mind imagines it moving that way. And I feel like that's really fun. Um, yeah. Like I could easily add like, you know, um, effects and things of that nature. I think that would be the wrong effect though. But also, it is a subtle movement, and I feel like certain subtle movements you don't really need to add anything for. They're supposed to be subtle, so you don't have to, they kind of work already on the mind if you set them up a proper way. Sorry for that. Um, what else can I do here? I can kind of erase out some of these. just make them a little bit better. Um, every now and then I'll look through some comics as well, and I'll be like, I don't know. Sometimes I'll just be like, "Yo, is that Tone?" Become a really fun little joke that me and my friends talk about. Um, but I was looking at the Afro Samurai manga, and I was looking at it, and I was like, "Yo, is this dude even using tone?" And I don't think he was. I think he was just using uh, texture and patterns for his backgrounds and stuff. And I was like, "That's interesting." And like I always bring up to you guys, like I'm always like on the fence about whether or not I should be um, or do, if I want to use tone or if I want to use like texture or flats or something like that, because one, it feels just easier um, with the whole if you use tone incorrectly you could have problems with nah it's texture, don't do this to me. But no, that yeah, exactly, it is texture, yeah, it's not tone. um and it makes me think like it's easier to deal with like texture and flats than it is to deal with having the problem with your tone overlapping improperly and then it gets printed wrong, or it looks one way on your screen and then you get it printed and it doesn't look like the thing you've been working on for all this time and it feels bad. So I'm always just like, and I feel like I've gotten better with the understanding of how tone works, but I need to produce more things to print or print more things for me to get more confident in how things are coming out. It's just gonna take, well, time and money. But obviously, if you print with flats, you know how it's basically gonna come out. You don't have to worry too much about those things. Um, but yeah, I was checking that out and I was just looking at it, and I still think it's just really cool. It's just it's a really cool project to even consider. Um, I wonder if he feels like he's doing something different or he did something different there. Because most of the community of the people that I've seen who work in comics in Japan still operate with tone. And I'd say the best thing about it is, well, it seems like, with their printers, they have like, well, a lot of printers, they have like, black and white and color as an option. And I don't know, for me over here, it feels like we don't have complete black and white as an option. It feels more like it's like grayscale, and then you have color, not black and white. And they save money by choosing the complete black and white option from their printers. And since they use tone, the tone obviously looks gray from a distance, but if you zoom in, you see it's just a bunch of black dots or squares or whatever that shape is, that you went for your tone. Um, and I feel like, okay, cool, they save money that way. But like, yeah, I spoke about this last stream, but I don't know how that works over here when I don't see that option consistently for like printers, to like help you save money if you or them save money by just going black and white. Um, the other thing is, um, honestly, it's it's not like just like, oh, it's old tech per se, but it's more about what are you trying to get out of it. And honestly, the thing that I like about tone the most is that it gives your page texture, right? um yes, it's gray, and it gives it a certain level of like, literally just what is it called, value, if you will, um shadow, all that good stuff. My brain is not working. um but I like that it's a texture overall. You get like two to three different effects combined. Obviously, you can just use texture on your computer, and you don't have to worry about the Moire effect where you overlap incorrectly, and then it looks really bad when it's printed at all. Um, but then it looks more flat. So it's like, well, how do you defeat that? And I was just thinking about, well, what you would probably have to do is overall put an actual paper texture underneath of everything, more so over top of everything, and layer it in such a way that it is, um, what is it called? It's it's very nuanced, but you can definitely tell that there's a texture. And that way, um, the things when you print them, you'll be able to see it and go, wow, this has some texture to it or whatever. Um, those are the two routes I'm still thinking about. Um, I'm always thinking about them because at the end of the day, that's essentially you looking at your end result and being like, here's what this thing's going to turn out looking like. I also like playing with the idea of, right now I'm looking at something like what's going on here. Also like the idea of playing around with like the like pencil effect and everything as well. I think I'm gonna actually just fill this in completely and just erase out what I want because I don't like the way those look right now. But pencil. I've seen some comics here and there that kind of use both pencil and ink and stuff like that. I look at like what people are doing comics and why they do it, and I'm just like, well, if I can incorporate the story into why I do anything, technically, then I can do anything I want. And if I want to like keep those skills, I can just come up with a narrative reason why I want to do it, right? If everything's about storytelling and making sure that you respect the story, then you can still get away with using anything you want to, as long as you're doing it for story purpose reasons. And I kind of like that idea. So when I have a certain way in which I like to use pencil, and obviously pencil gives things like a rougher texture, and it also has a more unfinished feeling to it. It's also technically the soul or essence of a drawing for the most part. Most people, they draw or they sketch or a rough drawing over top of something, and then they ink over top of it, or they take that and create the finished line work. Usually, the finished line work is really clean, very meticulous, and it's very sharp and things. But the rough drawing is literally allowed to be rough, and I'm inspired by like looking at like anime or something, and they sometimes have those. It's not necessarily sakuga, but it'll be inside of it. It's what are they called? What do they call people? What are they called? It's those moments. You guys know what I'm talking about, probably. It's those moments where you have to freeze frame it to find the drawing in there, but it'll be this really cool shot. It might be in pencil, it might be in ink, brushwork or whatever. I don't remember the name right now, but you could. Those things look cool, right? They have a lot of energy in them, and if you could incorporate pencil, obviously, into your actual finished product, then those moments will pop a certain way, and vice versa, right? So for me right now, it is like daytime. I'm literally just telling y'all because why not, right? It's daytime, and I've always liked the look of like Tech on Concrete and stuff like that. What's this other dude's name? Koji Morimoto and stuff. And I learned that I don't know. I kind of felt like I can't easily get that look if I just do inks, but I can get close to that look if I do like a pencil type look. And I can kind of imagine it being colored that way, so I don't have to think about it too hard there. But that rougher feeling line work I can imagine it being lit by some really warm colors, lit by the sun, And when it becomes nighttime, I kind of try to switch back over to using a bunch of inks on my character art. Definitely with the character art that I'm trying to have you focus on or isn't moving as much for the most part. So it's in focus a certain way. And I can then come back around to that and be like, okay, here's this really hype moment with a lot of expression and things of that nature. And I can use the pencil there with ink at the same time to make those moments pop really hard because I'm using both ink and pencil. And I can do that again because it's nighttime, but I'm making this moment pop here. And then the same time when it's same thing when it's in the daytime, when I want to have something really highlight, I can literally use ink. But I have to pick and choose how that works, right? Because ink or completely black on top of things that look kind of gray is going to really stick out on the page. So I have to really pick and choose how that works because I don't want to take all your attention away from all the other panels. You know what I'm saying? So I gotta really figure that part out, but I'm getting there. I'm figuring it out. Right, so I just have to do that. See places where I need to erase. Right. So now I need to go to this layer and add background color. Try to be consistent with, oh, right, because I have to go back to this layer and get rid of some of that. Okay. Try to be consistent with like where I put my tones and stuff, because if I don't, well, things will get kind of crazy. Because I could just convert those grays into tones on the layer. or choose to keep them just as gray. Wait, what's crazy? Mr. OG-san? You want to see me convert it into the gray in the tone, I assume? Oh. Oh, okay. I was like, oh nah. So yeah, I can easily convert that. Right, so here, get rid of that. Interesting. So I can just go ahead and fill this in here. Okay. Alright, cool. No one should be looking anywhere else there. Let's see, what else did my notes say? Okay. Yep, erase the eye out there. I want it there. I wanted to not draw the eye there, so what I'm gonna do is just help that happen properly, so I don't have to actually draw the eye there. So I'm just gonna put a little partial shadow there. But see, it'd be better if I just drew the eye. I don't know. Okay, that looks pretty cool. wanted to redo that part of the hair, I basically go through and say, all right, what if I'm not me? Well, not really. I go through and just nitpick. That's what I try and do. I try to find as many big things and small things that I would like to change about the art. That way, I don't kind of miss too much. And if my friends ever have any suggestions, I try to make sure that I already have a crazy extensive list to kind of go off of. And then I'm like, okay, what did I miss? What am I not seeing? And by kind of doing that first for myself, I get to kind of make like myself realize things even faster. Because if it's something that I consistently miss, then eventually I stop missing it because I start thinking about it more. And then it just becomes a part of my list of like things that I need to look out for that I consistently miss. Yep, that's a lot better. Now I can go, where do I want to go? I need to go this layer. I need to go to, why is that not on the same layer? I need to go to where the shadow line is. That sounds very interesting, actually. The shadow line. But yeah, need to go here and erase where the hair is. I need to jump back on this layer here so I can fill the hair in better. Yeah. Alright, that's a little bit better. Need to add tone here. Alright, cool. Found an area where we might need to add some white. Cool. Getting there. What else? Yeah, now I'm gonna add some background details to this wall. Go to this layer now. should go above this one. But yeah, this leg here, I was thinking like, why do I have him breaking the panel border other than fun? And I was just like, yeah, we don't need that there. That can be cut off completely. So that's what I'm gonna do. Gotta be careful about breaking panel borders a bit. If it's unnecessary, I mean, there's always fun, and if it's not, I don't know, if it's not fun enough, you know, it's just like, we're just doing that to be extra, and I don't really need to do that all the time. Though I honestly do think it's fun, but it also kind of messes with the flow of like reading the page properly, and I never want to do that too easily. I always want to try and like make sure that people are reading it properly. So I don't want to like mess that up reading experience wise. All right, cool. Some of the expression gets a little lost here and there, but try and make it work a little bit. Yep, that does a lot better. Okay, so one of my notes says that I need to, well, another one of my notes says that I need to kind of push this figure a little bit more in front. But I get that. Try and push that a little bit. That works pretty well. I'm gonna do one for this fist or this arm here as well. And this ear, or this little part in this ear is a tangent, so I'm just gonna try and get rid of that now. It's like attaching to that line outside of it. We don't want those tangents. Alright, that is good enough right there. And I have a lot more that I want to do with this page actually. Yeah. I have to add some sound effects here and there. I want to do a lot more, like, I don't need to do a lot more value stuff on this last panel here, but the thing I am going to do is add more like signage. You know, like they're in a place they're eating, so I want to add like you know, a little sign in there. It says what it is, what they're eating. Little, you know, pseudo, you know, recipe list, menu. That's the word I was looking for. Menu and stuff on the wall. Was thinking of also having like some floor tiles or something like that, very specific to this place, but I think I'll go with something not too crazy as well. Because you're not supposed to be there that long. What you're really there to do is listen to their conversation while they're, you know, figuring out what they're gonna do as far as their game plan. So a lot of that stuff is going to get covered up, but at the same time, I want to do that because it adds more life to the place where they are. You know, same thing with the top panel on the left side page. I want to add a little bit of the background as well. That way, again, you know where they are. You can kind of surmise, you know, in your mind how that place looks and everything as well. So the only thing that's a problem with like the pencil I use is just it's so rough that like it's hard to, like, I always have to come back and kind of do stuff like this. One day I'll modify it and like try to get it to be a little, I guess, more sharper in specific areas, but for the most part I always got to go back and kind of shape it a bit to get it where I need it to be. This has a bunch of notes on it. I'm mainly doing the faster ones, honestly. So I have some things here I want to do. I didn't want to use tone here, so I'm just going to go through and add them with line work. And to make it even faster, I'm going to go to an above area and just kind of add those things in there. Which is supposed to be with this. darker but doesn't get as small. Alright, gonna add a little line weight here because she should be overlapping him here. Also wanted to add some shadow on her side there, which I will make a new layer for, and for some reason pick red. And see, can I grab that whole area? I think I can. I didn't get the whole area there. That did not do that, did it? No, it did. Why does it feel like it did? Oh, that's just how that looks. Okay, well, I know what I need to do with that. Alright, that's another thing I remembered. I want to erase the tone out of this dude's eye. Can be done faster because it doesn't need to have that. Same thing with down here. Oh, that's not. It's interesting. Okay. Alright, I can kind of do my original idea where I go around and do this little effect or whatever, see how it works out. Cool. And now it is turning nighttime. is nighttime, or the sun has moved far enough down to where as though y'all know what I'm saying. The sun has set. Still really like the way this page looks. Still some things I want to do with it as well. I definitely want to change this from not being so dark to being a little bit lighter. Or maybe what I'll do is I'll grab like an airbrush tool, and I'll just kind of do a little something like this, so that you can tell that like the sun is low. I think that could work. That looks like a fire. See, I don't know. Yeah, that looks like a fire. Anyway, yeah, something like that. And I could adjust some other things over here. That's a decent amount of adjustments though, so I'm not going to do that right now. What else do we have here? So I wanted to make that darker. I did that, and I did that as well. Something about light. No, I wanted to add the shirt. That's right. So we're gonna go to the tone layer. Oh boy, hold on. Get rid of that. Go to the tone layer. I believe his shirt was this one. Okay, that works. Some good consistencies there. I think I still want to do some adjustments on this other page. It's a decent amount of them, but oh boy, let me see something. So I have this back on, don't I? Okay, yeah, I don't need that on for this one. But yeah, I want to go through and add like some line work onto the figures that's closest to us, including some shadow layer, so that they kind of stick out and they'll be directly against the light that's in front of them. So some good shadow consistency there. Since he's facing the light here, it's a decent reveal shot, and he won't be buried in shadow. And I still want to fix that arm that I still keep saying I'm going to fix, but I have been just doing everything else, because I guess everything else seems easier than fixing that arm. Let's put some shadow underneath of her there as well. this whole thing is kind of like a part of my quality, check process type thing. It is not. It's not necessary for a lot of people to do, I would say, but it's necessary for me, I guess, because if I don't do it, I guess I'll have some insecurities about what I've made. And in order for me not to have all that insecurity, I gotta be like, well, I've looked at this thing every direction, back and front, you know. I just gotta do it. I know it's not always, necessary and all that, but for me, it's very integral to the fact that I'm like, I know I sat there and made sure it was where it needed to be before I put it out, at least visually. And I also have a bunch of friends who can, read my work first and tell me about typos or inconsistencies and things of that nature. All that is just to assure that, again, whatever I put out, I know that like I've put a certain amount of effort into making it, I guess, worth reading more. So. Yeah, a lot of the art in this chapter I'm pretty happy with. Some parts of it I'm not, as far as like storytelling goes. I feel like certain parts could have landed a little better, lasted a little bit longer here and there, just kind of expand a moment. But for the most part, I'd say everything I kind of wanted to happen did happen, and there's a lot of good parts that I'm like, I planned those to happen, but they worked out way better. That's just on me for, I don't know, having a really decent library of just how I want things to feel when I want them to like be in action. Um, I'm still getting better at other parts like conversations and close-up shots. I'm not really crazy about doing close-ups, but whenever I see like a comic where a person's really good at just drawing faces from every conceivable angle and all different type of camera lenses and all that type of stuff, and they do a really good shot of a face and they crop it really good, I'm like, oh man, like I gotta get better. Like I gotta learn how that works and also why it works really well on me. What effect are they evoking from doing all that, with that technique? Those are the things that I'm always trying to like, well, I'm not always thinking about it, but when I see it, I'm like, I need to learn that. So that's always great. Before I get to this arm, I guess I could work on these pants, because I was like, you know what? Oh man, look at that. You see that? I didn't even see that in my notes. Even though it's in my notes, I was kind of speeding through, huh? Alright, so pants wise. Alright, can we figure out a way? Oh boy, what is this? Okay, well, I'm just gonna double down on that. Alright, cool. Can we figure out a way to make this a little faster? Well, first of all, draw on top of it. Alright, cool. So, because I know this is technically not where everything needs to be. Even if these were like perfectly, do something like that. Okay. Okay, so that's funny. All right. That is my time, everyone. Thank you so much for stopping by and checking out the video. And if you guys didn't catch it live, that's fine. Thank you for checking out the video. Anywho, I'm altrodesi. This comic is the Divinity. Oh, hello. What's going on this stream? Hey, how's it going, John? I'm just about to wrap up. Sorry you caught me late. But yeah, I'm working on this comic called The Divinity. It is like a manga, read from right to left. It's an action adventure comic with lots of fighting and martial arts and all types of other things. You can read it for free on Webtoon or Tapas, whichever one you prefer. You guys can follow me on Blue Sky or Twitter. Definitely follow me here or subscribe to my YouTube channel, where I'll be going live around 6:30 to 8 p.m. Working on this comic and telling you guys about the art stuff that I'm working on. Yeah, I'll be back next time on Tuesday, because I believe it is Saturday. So I stream on Saturdays and Tuesdays at that time. Be sure to like the video if you guys enjoyed what you saw or the conversations that I was having and talking about. All that. I appreciate it. Thank you guys so much for your time, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace, everyone.